Welcome to today's Explainer. We have absolutely got a ton of ground to cover as we unpack the rapidly shifting global AI landscape of August 2026. If you've been following the news, you know the sheer velocity of these breakthroughs, and frankly, some of the deeply concerning security vulnerabilities has been incredible to watch. So today, our goal is to cut through all that noise, structure the chaos, and help you grasp exactly what is driving this entire ecosystem right now.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're taking this massive fire hose of news and breaking it down into 4 key pillars. First, the AI capabilities boom. Second, the hardware hunger games. Third, AI's growing security crisis. And finally, the global AI race.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the AI capabilities boom, and look at the massive scientific leaps happening right now.
Recently, AI tracking metrics have just been lighting up, led by Anthropic, who saw a massive 45% jump in their story volume. And it's rooted in verifiable lab results, especially when it comes to structural protein design. Historically, the baseline success rate for designing protein binders, which, by the way, are those crucial molecules used to develop targeted new medicines, sat right around 10 to 15%. But Anthropic's Claude, specifically their Mythos Preview and Opus 4.8 models, has totally shattered that ceiling. They hit up to a 35% success rate across 15 different protein targets. In fact, they successfully designed binders for 14 out of those 15 targets. We are literally talking about more than doubling the industry standard in a vital scientific field. It's a real game changer.
But, it doesn't stop at structural design. Anthropic's latest model, Opus 5, is now capable of parsing highly complex, raw laboratory data, specifically NMR and LC-MS readings. Think of those like incredibly dense chemical fingerprints, and it's processing them in under 25 minutes. What you really should take away from this is the insane accuracy. The model's output is within 0.1% of manual lab readings. Just think about the bottleneck this removes for researchers. AI isn't just a chatbot anymore. It is actively functioning as a high-speed, hyper-accurate digital lab partner, accelerating scientific discovery at a pace we've never seen before.
Now, you might be thinking these capabilities are just locked away in some pharmaceutical lab. Nope. Major tech giants are aggressively pushing advanced AI directly into dorm rooms and living rooms at no extra cost, all to capture market share. Google is basically handing eligible U.S. college students a full, free year of Gemini Pro, which includes access to deep research and interactive 3D visualizations. Meanwhile, Amazon is auto-upgrading all U.S. Fire TV devices to Alexa Plus, dropping the previous monthly fee entirely, without even requiring a Prime subscription. They are trading subscription revenue for user engagement, making Frontier AI just another standard utility in the home.
Which brings us to Section 2, the hardware hunger games. Because all this explosive adoption has triggered a massive scramble for physical infrastructure. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer financial magnitude of the custom silicon deals happening right now. Google isn't just buying off-the-shelf parts anymore. They just granted a staggering $12.2 billion stock warrant to Marvell to secure a custom chip supply agreement for AI inference accelerators and networking. And on the flip side, Anthropic just inked a $250 million deal with a UK Oxford spinout called Fractile for SRAM-based inference chips, which are these highly specialized, memory-focused processors. That deal instantly rocketed that startup's valuation to $6.5 billion. The big players are spending absolute billions to lock down the exclusive future supply of custom hardware.
And there is a very good reason they're panicking to secure that hardware: 2.2 million. According to a recent investigation, that is the estimated number of AI chips Microsoft currently has installed globally. Now, 2.2 million chips probably sounds like a lot, right? Well, actually, experts say Microsoft needs roughly 6.4 million GPUs to support their massive $280 billion data center build-out. When this huge shortfall was revealed, Microsoft shares immediately fell roughly 3%. The appetite for compute is wildly outpacing the physical reality of what they've actually managed to install.
So, this physical limitation is driving 2 massive immediate downstream effects. First, it is kicking down the door for fierce hardware innovation. A company called Cerebras just launched their CS4 system, claiming up to 30 times faster inference than traditional GPU deployments. Second, the manufacturers actually printing the silicon, they are completely overwhelmed. Samsung's advanced 4nm and 5nm foundries have been running at maximum capacity, which forced them to hike their prices by 10 to 15%. So the hardware is getting significantly more expensive, and alternative architectures are aggressively fighting to break NVIDIA's monopoly. And that pressure cooker builds perfectly into Section 3, AI's growing security crisis. This rapid acceleration has opened up a really dangerous new frontier.
Let's walk through this timeline because the lag in AI security responses is honestly alarming. Back in December of 2024, security firm Varonis discovered a critical vulnerability in Microsoft Copilot, which they dubbed Co-Snitch. This flaw chained together persistent memory poisoning and URL fetches, essentially tricking the AI into remembering malicious instructions so it could silently steal user data right out of Gmail, Drive, and Calendar. But here is the truly terrifying part. It took roughly 8 months for Microsoft to ship a full patch for this. For 8 whole months, an enterprise AI tool had a wide-open vector for silent data exfiltration.
And get this, the AI tool's meant to fix code or sometimes making things worse. We have a documented step-by-step failure here, discovered by the Red team. A Snowflake code repository used an AI tool, Copilot Autofix, to generate a patch. But the AI actually replaced safe input handling with raw string interpolation. In plain English, it literally wrote a backdoor vulnerability directly into the code. Within 5 days, that newly created hole was exploited by attackers to exfiltrate a Jira token, which granted read access to highly sensitive engineering and security projects. Trusting AI to blindly write secure patches is proving to be a massive liability.
And I really want to emphasize that these issues are completely industry-wide. Just recently, Apple had to patch a critical zero-click flaw, meaning a user doesn't even have to click a malicious link to get hacked, where a bad image file could hand over complete control of the device. Experts are warning that AI is actually accelerating the development of exploits like this. Meanwhile, the U.S. government cybersecurity agency, CISA, had to give federal agencies just 3 days to patch a critical remote code execution flaw in Ray. Now, Ray is the open-source AI framework used by Apple, Amazon, and OpenAI. Hackers were already using this flaw to convert compromised AI server clusters into massive crypto mining botnets. The infrastructure is literally under siege.
All of this naturally leads us to Section 4, the global AI race, looking at how these dynamics are playing out geopolitically.
To truly understand the scale of international investment, look no further than this astonishing valuation, $66 billion. That was the brief valuation of Unitree Robotics, a Chinese humanoid robot maker, following a massive 629% surge on its Shanghai IPO debut. The retail demand for this stock was oversubscribed more than 5,500 times, and it was backed heavily by major Chinese AI players like DeepSeek. The sheer volume of capital flowing into applied AI hardware in international markets is absolutely staggering. And this capital is fueling completely diverging global deployment strategies. On one side, you have US-based OpenAI baking in a massive 20% compute overhead just for mandatory safety monitoring on their advanced Astra inference models. They are heavily restricting their ecosystem to prioritize alignment and security. But on the other side, Chinese AI lab Z.AI just released their GLM 5.3 model, which is built for advanced coding and defensive cybersecurity as a completely open-weight model. That means anyone anywhere can download and use it. We are seeing a very stark contrast between heavily monitored, closed ecosystems and the rapid, unconstrained deployment of open-source capabilities.
Amid all this global pressure, the immense cost of hardware, and the brutal demands of remaining competitive, private companies are really being pushed toward the public markets. OpenAI CFO Sarah Friar recently told employees in an all-hands meeting that the company firmly commits to a public IPO by 2027, and potentially even sooner if their business growth continues to accelerate. The days of frontier AI development being entirely insulated from public shareholder demands are rapidly coming to an end.
Which brings us to the core tension of everything we've covered today. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. We have seen AI models design life-saving proteins at double the baseline success rate, but we've also seen AI write critical security vulnerabilities into enterprise code, and we've seen silent data theft flaws sit completely exposed for 8 months. We're seeing billions spent on hardware that still falls critically short of what's needed. So, we really have to ask ourselves, are the breathtaking scientific leaps we're achieving truly worth the escalating security risks and the crushing global infrastructure costs? It's a tricky balance, and it's one the entire world is trying to strike right now. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack all of this today, and keep questioning the data.